Lake Hollow, a desert oasis of wealth and control, where every lawn is trimmed, every gate is locked, and every secret is buried beneath stucco and stone. Inside the community clubhouse, the HOA gathered once again. Smiles were tight, words were carefully chosen, but something beneath the surface was beginning to crack. Vincent Langford, a tech entrepreneur who didn't just build apps, he questioned power, especially the HOA's power. That made him a problem. He filed suit, demanded transparency, exposed financial gaps in the HOA's budget. And then, just days later, everything changed. At 2:08 a.m., flames swallowed Vincent's smart home. Fire alarm screamed, but no one was home. Just heat, smoke, and silence. Neighbors watched from behind iron gates. Eyes wide, voices hushed. Some filmed, some prayed. Most said nothing. The next morning, Cheryl Minks, HOA president, faced the cameras. An unfortunate accident, she claimed. Likely electrical, but behind closed doors, the whispers began. 3 lawsuits in the past year. And now a house in ashes? Something didn't feel right. Cheryl watched from her window, calm on the outside, calculating underneath. She'd seen fires before, but this one was personal. 17 days later, another home lit the sky. And just like the first, the owner had a legal battle with the HOA. Coincidence? Or a warning? Judge Ronald Mercer didn't scare easy. For 35 years, he sentenced criminals without flinching. But in Lake Hollow, he crossed the one group he shouldn't have, the HOA. On a stormy Tuesday night, his home became the second to burn. Fire crews called it suspicious. Neighbors called it expected. Local news stations picked up the story. 2 fires, 2 lawsuits, same HOA, but no answers, only ashes. Enter Jenna Madsen, an investigative journalist with a history of digging up dirt in clean neighborhoods. She knew when a fire was more than a fire. Detective Ray Alvarez had seen arson before. Insurance scams, revenge jobs. But this was organized, and it was escalating. At the next HOA meeting, Cheryl Minks was calm, too calm. She assured residents there was no threat, but fear was already spreading like embers. Behind closed doors, insurers found red flags. Overinsured homes, payouts processed too fast, patterns that no longer looked accidental. Jenna sat down with a longtime resident who refused to go on record. Her words were quiet, but her meaning was clear. If you sue them, you burn. Jenna and Alvarez met late one night in a quiet diner. They compared notes, 3 lawsuits, 2 fires, and a third target already in sight. Gavin Rhodes, real estate developer, confident, connected, and angry at the HOA for blocking his projects. He had just filed a lawsuit, and he had no idea what was coming next. July 12th, at precisely 1:42 a.m., Gavin Rhodes' mansion exploded. Not a spark, en explosion. Someone wanted that house erased, fast and loud. Firefighters arrived within minutes, but the hydrants had been tampered with. Someone made sure this fire wouldn't be stopped. The neighborhood's cameras? Offline. Footage corrupted. No timestamp, no face, no trail. Just a digital dead end at exactly 2:14 a.m. Detective Alvarez paid the HOA office a visit. Cheryl Minks greeted him with her usual forced smile. But her eyes said something else, control and fear. Meanwhile, Jenna dug deeper, and what she found buried the story in something far worse. Shell companies tied to the HOA, all hiding behind fake addresses and forged signatures. Late one night, an anonymous source passed Jenna a brown envelope. Inside, internal HOA documents, deleted meeting minutes, and a handwritten note, "Follow the money." It wasn't just arson. It was insurance fraud. The HOA had turned homes into cash machines, inflating values, burning them down, and collecting payouts through offshore accounts. Cheryl was slipping. Phone calls increased. Her staff grew quiet. Inside her office, she watched fire footage on mute, as if preparing for the next move. In a parked car near the third fire site, Alvarez and Jenna connected the final dots, a coordinated operation, with HOA leaders at the center and a 4th fire already in motion. The biggest twist? Gavin Rhodes, the 3rd victim, had likely been in on the scheme. But something changed. Maybe he got greedy, maybe he got scared. Either way, he was silenced. The break came not in a courtroom, but in a cold interrogation room. The HOA treasurer finally cracked. Hands shaking, voice trembling. It was Cheryl. She organized everything. We just followed orders, pinned photos, red string, a final address circled in red ink. Jenna and Alvarez stared at the board. The last lawsuit still active, and the last house still standing. At midnight, someone broke into the clubhouse server room. One last attempt to erase the evidence. One last act of desperation. Detective Alvarez sped through the quiet streets of Lake Hollow, sirens off. He wasn't just chasing a criminal. He was racing against a match. In the backyard, a masked man raised a Molotov cocktail, but this time the police were waiting. The fire starter was caught before the spark. That morning, Cheryl Minks was escorted out of the HOA office in handcuffs. The Queen of Lake Hollow was done playing house. Jenna's expose broke the internet. Front page. Headlines. From hidden shell companies to coordinated arson, Lake Hollow had become a national scandal. In court, Cheryl and her accomplices sat stone-faced. The judge delivered the sentence without mercy. Fraud, conspiracy, arson, decades behind bars. The gates of Lake Hollow still stand, but behind them, half-empty homes and broken silence. The HOA was dissolved. Trust? Burned down with it. Months later, Jenna signed copies of her best-selling book, Fire Sale. She didn't just expose a crime. She lit the match that brought it all down.